Now, as we mark Human Rights Day, many South Africans don't enjoy the most basic of rights. Human rights law expert Sandra Liebenberg says the country has a way to go to fulfill the requirements in the Bill of Rights. She joins us now live via Skype. Sandra, good to have you with us on the show today. Let's just look quickly at the article that you wrote that was published just a couple of days or so ago, where you state South Africa's constitution is celebrated globally for its visionary Bill of Rights. But then you go to say in your article, in many respects, South Africa has failed to achieve a more socially just society. Let's start with that one first. What do you mean by that?
Thanks very much, Tony, and good afternoon to your listeners. Well, I think what I mean by that, we all know that South Africa has had this terrible history of colonialism and apartheid. And that has, of course, left many scars on our society. But, you know, the situation that we are still faced with, despite enormous achievements of the new government in terms of healthcare, education, social security, is that we still have extremely deep levels of poverty. So over 55% of South Africans, that's 30 million people, are living below the national poverty line of 992 rand per month. And coupled with that, we've got, we have the unenviable position of being the most unequal country in the world in terms of the distribution of income and wealth.
Yes, that is true. But yes, I sort of go because you also go ahead and say you've stated those are some of your reasons behind that first statement. But you also go ahead and say the Bill of Rights may actually be an obstacle to achieving a more just society. Why would that be?
No, what I argued in the piece is that many young people, since the Fees Must Fall movement particularly, argue that the Bill of Rights could be seen as an obstacle, the property clause in the Constitution. But my article is seeking to refute that statement and actually say we have a range of tools in the Bill of Rights. We've got economic and social rights. We've got a number of institutions that are put in place by the Constitution, and that by using these tools effectively and by government taking these rights to heart in the way they govern, in the way they budget, and so forth, the Constitution can actually help redress these injustices. So I am not arguing that the Bill of Rights is an obstacle in and of itself. I'm right, the Bill of Rights and the Constitution in the end are simply words on paper.
Yes.
We South Africans have to make them into a living document.
So why, Sandra, are we not using some of those tools that you mentioned in the Bill of Rights to actually achieve a social and just society? Why can't we use those tools? Why are we failing to do so?
Well, I think in many respects we are. I mean, there are a range of wonderful organizations working against violence against women, working at combating poverty, working against corruption. So, in fact, we are using those tools and we have made some progress. But, transformation is not an event, it's a process. And we obviously need to remain vigilant and keep using those tools. And if I may just, Tony, mention another tool that is very important. South Africa ratified a couple of years ago the International Covenant on Economic, Social and Cultural Rights, which is a UN human rights treaty.
Yes.
It forms part of the International Bill of Rights, and our Constitution very much took its inspiration in including economic, social and cultural rights. And last year, the committee reviewed South Africa's state report, and it issued a very detailed set of conclusions and recommendations for South Africa, relating to corruption, relating to fiscal policy, relating to quality public services.
Yes.
And I really feel if there was more knowledge about this, and if media gave it more coverage, it provides us with some very good signposts and markers.
Could provide us
provide
us with a good roadmap. All right.
Exactly.
All right. Thank you so much for your thoughts there. Sandra Liebenberg, HF Oppenheimer Chair in Human Rights Law.